Restaurant Unstoppable. What the most successful restaurateurs know that you don't. Back to Jason Miller.
Yeah.
He really was your first mentor. He
was a huge influence in my career.
Reflecting back at that time, how did he influence you? Think about the impression he made on you.
You know, it's a big one, and it's funny because even now it's probably still seen in my food, in the way I prep, in the way I organize my kitchen. The guy was a huge influence. So I started working for him at Moose's. Eventually that ran its course. You know, I went to culinary. Everyone that was working online went to culinary school or was in culinary school. And I was like, well, I guess I'll go, you know, and at less, this might be maybe not the right thing to say, but less for the knowledge that culinary school was going to give me and more for the ability to show people in the industry the commitment I had to this industry. I was willing to take on the debt. I was willing to go through the process of going through school
to prove to others.
To prove to others that this is what I wanted to do and wanted to be.
Reflecting back at that, with the man you are today, what do you think?
So I feel like that's kind of not a loaded question, but it's like, right, with hindsight being 2020, there's some things that came out of culinary school that I can't say I wouldn't go to culinary school because then I wouldn't have those things. Mm-hmm. Although I am divorced from my first wife, we have a son, and we met in culinary school. Mm-hmm. So for me to say I wouldn't go to culinary school would negate that part. Looking just on strictly the curriculum side of things, I don't think that culinary school is a must for everyone. Mm-hmm. I think it's beneficial for a lot of people. Yeah. I think some of the taglines some schools set up. So I went to the California Culinary Academy. I think now it's a French culinary. I think it's part of that program. You know, their tagline was "Be a chef in 18 months."
Yeah.
Like, you know, I would go to work in the morning and then go to school at night. I did 7 days a week. I was averaging 100 and some odd hours between both.
Yeah.
And it's like there were days where I would go to work and make, you know, chicken stock and veal stock and this and that. And then I would go to school and sit through a class on, you know, how to make chicken stock. And you're like, yeah, I just made 20 gallons 3 hours ago. But there were kids in my class who didn't know.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm right there with you, and it comes up time and time again. I think there is value if you are young and you want the college experience and you're thinking about that. There's cheaper options, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But back to what I was saying earlier, when you graduate and you're paying $500 a month for your education,
still paying,
you can no longer take jobs based off of experience and network. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard.
Yeah, because you have a liability, you have a responsibility, you got to pay the bills. So it's one thing. I mean, get the experience first, and if you really like you did, and if you really are 100% gung ho committed to the industry because you love it, because you're doing it every day, make the investment. You know
exactly, and you do have to kind of look at it as an investment.
Yeah.
You know, now whether or not that investment necessarily comes back and pays back, that's another story, right? Because I mean that's just the brutal honesty.
Yeah.
It's not law school.
Yeah.
It's not medical school.
It's not
like you're not going to go be a doctor without and skip medical school. You can't be a lawyer and skip law school unless you're just a genius and can pass a bar somehow. But do you know what I mean?
Unless
like
you're Doogie.
But you can be a chef and a very successful chef and not have gone to culinary school. Right? Again, go back to the mantra. Like, do what's best for you. If going to culinary school is what you think is best for you at the time, go for it.
So how does James Miller fit into this? Did he encourage you to go, or did
he didn't? He really didn't. He supported me going, though.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he went to school. You know, he grew up back here and went to school out here. He supported me in the manner of when school was, the way my school was set up is you had day classes for like a semester and then you switched to night classes, right? And it was Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day. So when I was in school during the day, I worked nights. But when my school switched to nights, he moved me to days.
Okay.
So, that was in some way, right? His support was like, I'll work with your schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, he still got an employee that came in and worked every day, but it was helpful. He was just a big influence. It was probably the first time I was like really in a restaurant where like I looked around and saw a level of talent that was like inspiring.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like everywhere I had worked before, I mean, you take out the burger joint and stuff like that, but a couple of the restaurants in San Francisco that I worked before, it's not that the food was bad or, they were very successful, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And it was like guys that could come in and just hammer stuff out, just slammed all night and just hammer it out and joke and laugh the whole time. Where when I went to Moose's with Jason, there was just this level, I guess a good way to describe it would be, there was a level of professionalism set and seriousness, and people who, even when they were prepping, took the time and thought of why are we prepping this? Why are we prepping this way? It wasn't a matter of like looking at my prep list and let me just do it as fast as I can.
Yeah.
Right? Like I might have missed a step here and there, but it got done. That wasn't it. It was slow down, look at what you're doing, think about why you're doing it this way.
Yeah.
And that was like new for me.